Welcome to Mortgage Sense with Kevin, a common sense approach to mortgages. Brad Fuqua.
Hey, man.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well.
Brad,
Yes, sir.
what's happening?
Man, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
You know, it's some exciting times. It's some very exciting times.
It is.
I want your take on something, and I didn't prepare you for this.
No, I'm coming in blind here.
Coming in blind, and that's the way I want, because I want real information. How long have you been a realtor?
10 years now.
10 years.
Yeah, April was 10 years.
April was 10 years. That means we've been doing business now together 10 years.
That's right.
Okay. You are my longest lasting realtor partner. I've got some great partners, but you and your mom, Cheryl Fuqua, the Fuqua Group at Keller Williams, have been my most loyal partners, and I appreciate that. I really do.
Fiercely loyal, my friend.
It means a lot. Give us your take on what's going on in the industry right now.
It's interesting. I was telling, I think I may have been telling you this last week. Like, people want to ask me how quick things are going to sell now, and the answer is I don't know. Sometimes whenever you think something's going to sell really quickly, it doesn't, and then some things that we think that may take a while does, and I think that's probably been the case, all along. But right now, it's just an unusual time. We've got, tons of listings coming on, which we're
exciting.
All thankful for.
That's right.
I think between now and it's Thursday today. I think between now and Monday we have 6 coming on, which is huge for us. And for the area, we're short on listings, so that's always a problem.
The calls that I'm on a daily basis, and as you know, and we've talked about this, our footprint has really expanded.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean, we are now licensed in 9 states because of our social media presence, and so I have gotten on some calls that I'm on a daily basis with realtors from all over the country, and everybody's talking about the same thing: is where's our inventory? How do we get our inventory? We had that conversation 2 days ago, and you've got 6 new listings coming in, and we've got realtors out there that are dying because there's no listings.
Sure.
And how do we handle this low inventory?
Right now it's sort of tough, because a lot of times people, got the 3% interest rate, or less, and I don't want to bring up interest rates. Yeah, me too. But it does make an effect, right?
Sure.
So if you thought you were going to move and you're in a great rate now, you're probably thinking twice, or at least rethinking it, because you don't want to necessarily trade that rate for a higher one.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, and I didn't plan on this, and that's what I like about what we do, is because it's all organic, and I want it to be organic. I'll tell you what has happened. Just 2 weeks ago, Brad, we closed a loan for a family that had a great rate, all right? But we've saved them $1,100 a month by refinancing. They took a higher mortgage,
Right.
but there was so much debt that we paid off.
Sure.
In fact, and I can't say the stats on this. I can't say the long version of the stats. $86,000 is the average American debt right now,
Wow.
not counting their homes.
Wow.
86,000, and in the last 8 months, personal lines of credit, whether it's credit cards, those types of loans have gone from 14% to 20% in the last 8 months.
Yeah, that hurts.
That's huge. It hurts.
Mm-hmm.
So believe it or not, I was talking to a title company yesterday, and they had 6 refinances hit their books this week.
Interesting. You wouldn't think anybody's doing that, but that's it can still be beneficial, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, because if we're spending more money than what we should be, and as Americans, we do.
We do.
That happens. So it's still, and we're talking a lot about budget. We're going into budget. We're having conference calls about budget. We're talking and advising our people about budgets and about handling their cash flow, because at the end of the day, it's about cash flow.
Sure. And that's one thing I appreciate about you and your team. You guys are always, you'll lay it out for people, but you always want what's best for the person, not necessarily getting the deal right. So.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. That young family that came to me, the first thing I try to do is get them a line of credit. Okay, because it was going to be cheaper overall.
Sure.
But not everybody can qualify for a line of credit.
No.
Okay, and it doesn't always make sense. So I mean, this one actually went on for about 3 months because we were trying something different.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, it still saved them $1,100. I want to talk about y'all. You've got a listing going on right now.
Yeah.
What's the address of that listing?
The one,
The big one.
it's 509 Eve's Place.
I was looking at the pictures of that home
You
before
need to come buy it. Yeah.
No, you drive by it. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Drive by it. BY instead of BUY.
Right.
Tell us about that home.
It's super cool. It's the modern, contemporary
Right.
style. Right in the heart of Chattanooga. You can see the bridge from the balcony. It's amazing. It has like an attached Airbnb on the property, so it's like above the garage with a separate entrance. Like there's nothing else like it downtown as far from what I've seen. And
that's listed at 1.2.
1.125.
1.125.
Just reduced it a little bit. We're having an open house today, actually, from 4 to 6. So if you want to come check it out.
I thought I saw. No, I'm not checking it out. Sherry's not going to let me go look.
It's
at the
one of
house.
those ones where the pictures are awesome, but you have to really see it in person to appreciate it. It's just the amount of work and the amount of extra stuff that you honestly wouldn't know about unless we told you. It's got the conditioned crawl space. All the extra things, all the extra rebar and poured concrete that the normal person may or may not even know or care about. But it's just it's awesome.
That is sweet. And I ran some numbers, and I remember that it was a 1 point. I think because it's in that jumbo limit. Okay, the minimum down payment on that house is going to be about $248,000. Okay. So it puts us into, but what we're also seeing, based on what we've talking about, the people that are buying these homes are not coming in with just 20% down.
Sure.
Okay. To get into a home like that, it does require anything over that jumbo limit, which is $726,900. They've got to have 20% down. Okay.
Yeah, this is not your starter, first or second house.
No.
This is definitely a little bit further down the line.
No, so if you're interested in talking numbers about that house, give us that address one more time.
509 Eve's Place, Chattanooga, 37405.
Okay. If you're interested in talking about that property, let's run some numbers. I mean, at the end of the day, whether it's 20% down or whether somebody comes in, because we're seeing a lot of people come in with $500,000 and $600,000 down.
Sure.
Okay.
A lot of equity.
A lot of equities out there. The issue that we're having, and I hate to call it an issue, but it is an issue. I mean, we've got right at 60 families approved and shopping right now.
Wow.
Okay. And that is spread out over 9 states. But in Chattanooga alone, we've got probably 40 that are approved and shopping. How many realtors in Chattanooga now?
Probably about 2,500.
About 2,500.
Yeah.
And our MLS covers, correct me if I'm wrong, from Dalton, Georgia to Dunlap.
Correct.
Okay. How many listings do we have?
1,200.
Now, is that land everything, or is that actual single-family homes?
Everything in the MLS. Yeah.
That's everything in the MLS.
Yeah.
So we're talking naked land and homes.
We're still very, very low. So we're not as low as we were, a couple of years ago. We were at like 600-700 listings, and that's just unsustainable. It's crazy. So we're still very, very on the low side, and there's more coming on the market now, so that's good.
So
but
tell me what you're fighting with, and tell me the conversations that you have, and we have these conversations, but I wanted to put it on I want to say tape. It's not tape anymore, but I want to put it out there.
Yeah.
What advice are you giving people? Because I know people are still wanting to jump off the roof when we talk about interest rates.
I know.
What advice are you telling people that come to you that want to buy or that are looking at homes right now?
Well, for one thing, we have done a few contingencies with houses to sell, but if you can possibly get around that and sell your house and be ready, that's going to put you in the best position. There's a lot of buyers out there that are sitting with their house that are waiting on the right one to come up, and when it comes up, they're competing with people that don't have houses to sell.
That's right.
And if you're a seller, you're gonna take the offer without the contingency every time.
All right, so let's play devil's advocate, because and we both have I know we're talking about the same. We've got a lady now that we're dealing with that has found a home, and she wanted to make an offer contingent on her selling her home.
That's right.
And our sellers are not taking those offers, but if she sells her house, what does she do?
And that's another thing I was going to say is, not everybody has that luxury, right? So you've got to have a plan B where you're going to go.
Right.
But if you're committed and you need to move or you want to move and you do, there are options out there. Like that particular lady, we're actually listing her house tomorrow.
Right.
So she took our advice after we tried to get that house and it didn't work. And so, she's lucky, she's going to get to go live with her parents for a little bit until she finds it. But, she's ready now.
Well, I will tell you this. I have 3 kids, and we have 9 grandbabies. None of my kids are coming back to live with us. Okay.
Right.
If they want to sell their homes, they're not coming in. I mean, we've got the
Even
room.
temporarily.
We've got the room, but it ain't happening.
The kids can come. The grandkids can come, just not the kids, right?
Well, that too. Yeah. That too. And I say that because, let's talk about the recast a little bit. There are families out there that can buy before they sell.
That's a fantastic option. You helped my brother and sister-in-law do that a couple months ago, and that was huge for them. They were lucky enough to be in a great spot to be able to do that.
And that is so important because if you're thinking about selling right now, if you're thinking about buying, if you do qualify for that recast loan, and meaning you have to put down at least 5%. And at 5% down, you have to qualify with both mortgages. Mm-hmm. Now, not everybody does.
Sure.
Okay. But if they do, that's a way around being able to sell later. We closed one 2 weeks ago. Her house is going on the market. I think it's
going on tomorrow too.
Yeah, it's going on the market too.
Yeah.
This young lady was, capable of carrying both mortgages. Now she's not going to have to make 2 payments because as soon as that house is going to sell,
it will.
It'll sell this weekend.
Right.
It'll sell this weekend. What is the hardest thing that you're dealing with right now?
Well, I'm sort of in it with some people right now. We have a house that's under contract, and I'm sort of on the other end of this. So my sellers are selling and buying in another city. So it's been tough. So we went under contract with an offer you couldn't turn down, right? Mm-hmm. And so those buyers walked because they got cold feet. So one thing that I've noticed, and I don't know if this is industry wide or if this is just us, but we've noticed this a couple times. So there's these folks out there that one strategy is, I'm going to make this offer that you can't turn down, but I'm going to tie it up until I decide whether or not I want to move forward with it or not. That's been tough.
Well, I guess that during the contingency period, they've got their outs.
Absolutely, yeah. So we definitely learned some lessons there. So not it would be hard as a seller for me not to take that offer too.
Right.
So that we went through and we had several.
And that was a cash offer.
It was. So my
Holy
point.
smokes. You got to bring this up while we're doing this.
Yeah.
Because we're both working with this gentleman.
Yeah. These are the best people ever.
Yes, they are.
It's it's been tough. So not the big shiny object isn't always the best thing. So like sometimes circumstances matter, and these folks, the ones that are actually going to be under contract again today, these people want this house. They want this neighborhood. You want somebody that's buying your house to want to be there.
Right.
And I think it's hard to distinguish up front. So I would say just be really careful, with that major, that very high offer that you can't turn down, because sometimes it doesn't always work out. So
it's funny. I mean, your mom in the last 2 years, she made this comment a lot. People were buying homes that they liked and not that they loved.
Oh yeah.
And I'm afraid that we're getting back into that situation.
Yeah. Another thing. I mean, people are a little bit choosier right now. Mm-hmm. It was easier to buy houses. It was easier to sell houses when the interest rates were really, really low.
Sure.
Because it was like, you can take it or leave it. And now there's a little bit less of that. So people are like, well, if I'm going to do whatever the interest rate is now, I'm going to be a little more picky about what I'm doing here. So I think that's slowed things down a little bit too.
Well, we've been here. In fact, when you got here, I was listening to a report, and we've had May 10th circled on our calendar now for a couple months. And with the jobless reports, with the CPI, the information that's coming out, with the unemployment rates, with the Fed, who raised again yesterday, mm-hmm. which we had already baked all that into our pricing. and then we could get into the LLPAs and what's really happening. But that's another show that I want to talk with you about. What's the best way for somebody to contact y'all?
Call us. My number is 423-605-5167, and Cheryl's is 423-505-4880.
Okay. What about your website?
TheFuquaGroup.com.
Spell that.
Fuqua.
There you go. Guys, if you're thinking about buying, if you're thinking about selling, and we've talked about this a lot, the people that put their houses on the market, and we've got one right now in Atlanta, Brad, that they have sold their home and they do not qualify. They do not qualify at all. It's not even close. And these people are in a world of hurt right now. So if you're thinking about buying, if you're thinking about selling, let's have a conversation. Guys, it always starts with a conversation. It has nothing to do with pressure. It has nothing to do with trying to talk you into something. But you've got to have real information. And it starts with a conversation. Kevin Blair team, we're not about pressure. We're going to give you great advice. We're going to give you accurate advice, 100% honest advice. And you know this because not only are we partners, but we've closed a couple of houses for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It doesn't hurt my feelings if you shop. It doesn't hurt my feelings if you compare. Okay. I think you ought to shop for his services. I think you should shop for our services, and the character, the integrity. That's what matters.
For sure. I mean, and we've had this happen. I know you have a few times through the years, more than a few probably, that you told somebody how things were. You told them how much you cared for them and how much you wanted to help them. They went another way because they thought that the grass was greener on the other side. Went with another lender. It didn't go well, and then they ended up getting your business later on because you were the one that told them the truth. So that's always the right thing.
And you know what? That's what we say. We'd rather tell you the truth and not close your loan, and for you to find out later that we were telling the truth. We get referrals that way, Brad, from people that didn't use us. Yeah. So if you want to compare, let's sit down, let's go side by side and compare that offer, compare this offer. And I'm not talking offers on homes. I'm talking about financing options. If it's right and you've got a better deal, I'll tell you that. But if it's the games that are played, I'm going to tell you that. And I'm going to tell you what games are being played. And that happens every single day. I'm Kevin Blair with Element Home Loans. You can reach me at kevinblairteam.com. We're on TikTok. We're on YouTube. Search us out. If you just search Kevin Blair Team, you're going to find us everywhere. We've got a great YouTube channel. If you like this kind of information, hit subscribe, hit share, hit like, ring the bell, do all those things that you're supposed to do on YouTube. We appreciate you listening. Brother, I don't mind saying this, and I don't mind putting this. I love you. I love you like a son. I love you like a brother. And it has always been a pleasure doing business with you.
Yes, sir. Let's do another one.
You got it. Let's go, people.